Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you to all of you who watched the previous Karmic read, which was about a week ago. Thank you for all your comments, your likes, your messages to me. They're all gratefully received. Do you know, I was going to leave it a little longer before I did a karmic update, but actually all day today I've had the word karmic going round and round and round in my head. And as I've said to you in previous videos, my readings are, yes, I have sort of a form of routine with some of my readings, but the ones that I do in between are very much led by spirit. So because I had the word karmic going round and round and round in my head today, I thought, now's the time. I need to do an update to see what is happening between your DM and the karmic. Okay, so Spirit want me to start with these oracle cards. So Spirit, please could you let us know, how is the DM feeling about the karmic at the moment, please? Okay, so we have the waiting game. We have an emotional loss card. Okay, we have a card of intuition. To move that up slightly. And we have shadow. That's interesting. I think that came up. It was either in the DM reading that I did or it was in the karmic reading. I can't remember. And we have the fertility card. Okay. So I'm going to put that just there for a moment. I might have to shuffle these about in a moment. But we had 5. I was only planning to pull 4. So how is the DM feeling towards the karmic at the moment? The DM is playing a waiting game here, DFs. You know, there's something that he's waiting for, and I think we had an indication of this last time. I think it was in the DM reading that I did separately. He's trying to sort out a situation at the moment which is tricky. And he's trying to come out of it with, I think the word they used during that reading was damage limitation. And, you know, he's still trying to do that. He's biding his time, okay? They've just said to me, biding his time. So at the moment, he's still waiting. He knows that when he walks away from this situation, and, you know, I don't know where those words came from, but they did. When he walks away from this situation, there is going to be a sense of sadness. I think we'll see how the karmic is feeling in a moment, but there's a part of him, he doesn't want to hurt anybody. You know, this DM is, you know, he's a nice person, basically. And, do you know, I always... Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing really, but it's because I can almost hear the frustration from the DFs when I say, oh yes, he's a nice person. They go, but why is he doing this to me? I understand it. I totally understand it, as I keep saying to you. I share your pain. But this is a nice guy. He is trying to come out of this situation, which is why he's being, you know, biding his time. He's putting down some new shoots in his mind that will bear, you know, good growth, because he wants to come out of this without hurting people as much as he can. Okay, so regardless of what is going on between him and the karmic at the moment, and we already saw in the last reading that he's very unsettled, he's not very happy, but he is trying to find the easiest route out that doesn't hurt people, you know. So yeah, there will be sadness around him, because he knows that even though that's what he's aiming for, he knows that's going to be tricky, because this karmic, I think we got a feeling last time that she kind of wants to hang on to DM, and, you know, so he knows that he's going to cause upset. He knows that he's going to cause sadness if he walks away. You know, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like upsetting people, but, you know, he's biding his time for the right way forward, and we will be clarifying these in a moment. He knows intuitively, it's almost like a decision has been made now. Intuitively, he knows that he's had to do some work on himself, and he's been doing that. You know, there's still work to be done. I think deep down, he still thinks he's not quite ready to step forward for DF, you know. I mean, who knows? He could tell himself that forever, to be frank. But actually, maybe he's being a bit hard on himself right now. But I think there's still things that he feels he has to work through in order to make a positive step forward. You know, and intuitively, he knows that in order to do that, he's got to be feeling good. He's got to be feeling in the right place. He's got to be feeling confident in his decisions and in the way forward. Because, you know, if he wants something to grow, then that is the only way that he can do it. He's got to be sure of where he's standing, really. Okay, now it's interesting in this because for some of you, and it will only be, well, probably a tiny percentage of you, there may be a pregnancy along here somewhere. Okay, we do have the card of fertility. Now, you know, 9 times out of 10 in readings, this signifies the growing of a relationship. Because we've had it coming up with the shadow card, this could simply be that, you know, the DM is now realising, intuitively, he's realising that in order for his growth and his self-development, he has to still work on his shadow side. There's still things he's working through. And that's for his own self-development. So for the vast majority of you, that is the way you'll take this reading. But for some reason, and I never particularly like talking about pregnancy during readings, but for some of you, you may have heard or you may be hearing that, you know, there's a possibility that there could be a karmic who's pregnant. I get the feeling you'll probably know about that already. I don't get the feeling there's going to be nasty surprises coming up. So, you know, that may be something you're aware of. He may already have a child with the karmic. But because it came up in the order that it came up, as I said, for the majority of you, this will be about him using his intuition and knowing that in order for him to grow and not repeat mistakes of the past, for his own self-development, his own growth, he has to complete his shadow work. And I think this DM has been doing a lot of shadow work over the last few months. I'm just going to pop that card there so that we have a clear run, basically. So, whoops, I have just thrown half a pack of cards on the floor, which is an indication, because of the way they fell, that Spirit don't particularly want me to use these cards. So, we may have some mirror, bear with me, sorry everybody. We may have some mirror energies coming up here, which is why they don't want me to use the same cards, because obviously the cards have already been used from that deck. So I'm just going to put those back while we look at how the karmic is feeling at the moment. And I'm going to go, let's use the energy oracle. How is the karmic, Spirit, please? How is the karmic feeling towards the DM at the moment? Oop. Okay, we have the Angel of Balance. I'm going to put them out and then I'll show you them in a moment. I'm just trying to get them in camera shot for a start off. So weird. I always get the camera at a different angle every week, don't I? Okay, how is the karmic feeling towards the DM, please? How is the karmic feeling towards the DM? Okay, we have the Temple Path. How else, please, Spirit? How is the karmic feeling towards the DM at the moment? We have Blossoming Abundance. And we have the Garden and the Gate. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So, we have a karmic here who's feeling that things are quite steady at the moment, that things are quite balanced, that things are sort of, you know, fine. You know, this karmic feels that there's a sense of balance here. You know, maybe there aren't quite as many arguments at the moment. You know, maybe the DM is, maybe he's changed his tactics a little bit. You know, because we know that the DM is biding his time here. It may be that he's calmed down the situation while he makes his decisions, and therefore the karmic is feeling that things are a lot more balanced, that maybe, you know, maybe the karmic is feeling a little bit more settled. than they were in the previous reading that we did, because she definitely sees this DM as, you know, I'm going to reword that sentence. She feels that she's on the right path. She feels that this is her future. She feels that she's walking her right path. She feels that this DM was meant for her, and this is what she is meant to have in her life and who she's meant to have in her life. Okay. You know, and I think last week we were talking about this particular group of DMs and karmics. It won't resonate with all of you, but for those of you that the last reading resonated with, we talked about this karmic was quite an insecure person and was in need of a lot of anchoring. They've just said anchoring, very strange. I never used that word either, but anchoring they've just said. So, you know, she wanted stability. She wanted somebody who helped her to feel grounded, who, you know, she wanted to feel that she didn't have to worry about her future, that she'd be taken care of, that financially, she saw this DM bringing financial stability into her life. And here again, in this week's reading, we have blossoming abundance. So, you know, I'm not feeling that this karmic, in fairness to them, because let's remember, regardless of how we maybe feel about them, let's remember that they are just... this is part of their soul's journey, to be having this experience at the moment with the DM. And, you know, it doesn't feel like... This karmic feels like a very insecure person, to be honest. Whereas I think the previous reading, it felt incredibly manipulative. In this reading... it feels the energy I'm getting is more about insecurity. And I think we did talk about this last time, because we talked about the karmic wanting that financial stability, and, you know, basically her future laid out for her as being secure. And here again, this is what she sees the DM providing her. I don't get the feeling that this is a gold digger situation. No, far from it. I really think this is about a very insecure karmic who, yes, uses maybe manipulative ways at times, but I actually think that it's more about them wanting their security to be provided for them rather than working for it themselves. Okay, so yeah, she or he, whatever the karmic, whatever gender the karmic is, you know, feels that things are quite settled at the moment, feels that, you know, this karmic is the right path for her, feels that the DM has put her on the right path, that, you know, she's going to be settled, you know, life's going to be abundant and good because, you know, the DM will be providing that. That's how she's viewing it. You know, and the karmic is looking out. At the moment, she's sort of, you know, the world feels quite small. For some reason, there feels like there's restriction here. But, you know, she's looking towards her future. She's looking towards a big world out there, or he. I'm just going to say she because we're talking divine masculine. I'm just going to say she at the moment because that's what keeps coming into my head. But, you know, it could be a male karmic with female energy also. So please bear that in mind. So don't be offended if I say she. But at the moment, her world feels quite small and quite restricted, but she's looking to her future. She wants this abundant future. She feels that this DM is going to provide it. And as I say, I don't get gold digger energy. I get stability energy. And that is what she's looking for. And, you know, she's looking... well, look at her. She's looking across that field at sort of the beauty beyond the gate. You know, she feels her life is opening up for her purely through being with this DM. You know, sadly, the DM isn't sharing her enthusiasm by the looks of the cards, and he's doing a lot of soul searching, using his intuition and doing this self-development because... yeah, we're not getting happy cards this side as well as happy cards that side, are we? Tricky. But DFs. Interesting. Interesting. Let me just have some water. So, in fact, no, I'm not going to go with those yet, Spirit. I'm sorry. I know, yeah. Okay. We're going to go with these ones. I nearly started with these ones today. But we're going to do clarifiers for the whole set from this deck they've just said to me. So we're going to go straight down the DM cards and then we're going to go through to Karmic Thinker. I'm going to start with this card because they're one step ahead of me again. Those of you that watch my readings regularly will know that while I'm chatting away, as I'm prone to do, Spirit tend to get fed up waiting and they throw the cards out in advance. So here we have the first one for the DM. And we have a thinker card. This DM is deep in thought. You know, like we said, he's biding his time. He's spending a lot of time thinking things through. He may be overthinking. We already know this DM's quite an emotional person. We know that he's trying to, you know, come out of this situation without hurting people as much as he can. And he's really giving this a lot of thought, okay? So, you know, he may be overthinking, he may be driving himself slightly mad while he tries to figure it all out. But that is what he's doing while he's biding his time. What else, please? What can you tell us about the emotional loss, Spirit? What can you tell us about the emotional loss? Which one? This one, okay. Yeah, you see, time to go. You know, first we have... Sorry, I'm going to drop the cards then. First we have the emotional loss card. You know, he knows there's going to be sadness and he feels sad because, you know, yeah, okay, he's been in a relationship with this karmic. It's not working for him, but it doesn't mean that he hasn't in the past had feelings for this karmic. And he feels sad about potentially hurting somebody because he knows this image, it's almost like this karmic has put him on some sort of pedestal and he knows that it's going to cause a lot of upset if he leaves this situation. But he is feeling that it's time to go here. It's time to move on. And he's just figuring out the best way to do that. This DM has been trying to figure this out for quite a while. I can hear the DF saying, yes, he has. I shouldn't laugh, but I just keep hearing your voices sort of shouting at me. Sorry. But, you know, it is a painful journey for all of us. You know, DFs, I totally get it. I'm a DF myself. It is hugely, hugely challenging being on the twin flame journey. So, you know, please don't be offended if I laugh during these readings, because sometimes you just have to try and lift the mood a bit, you know. They want me to take this card and they want me to take that card. Yeah, I know. They brought these out at the same time as this one. I was rather hoping they'd only give us one clarifier for each one, but they've decided to give me 3. So he knows, this DM knows that it's time to move on. He knows he's got to finally, you know, be brave and take the step. Okay? I put that politely. But he knows he has to. But at the moment, he's sort of sitting on it, you know. These sort of, we have time for a nap here, but he's sort of spending so much time thinking about it, you know, trying to find the best way forward, that he is going to drive himself in circles if he's not careful. But he's just taking some time to sort of weigh this all up, choose his moment and, you know, figure out the best way to move forward, because it also could be impacting on other areas of his life. He knows that this situation is unfinished in the respect of, not that he wants to continue a relationship with the karmic once he moves on, but he knows this whole saga is ongoing, and he knows he needs to draw it to a close. But at the moment, he's just sort of sitting on the decision making and not taking that step. And I do feel he's been doing that for quite a while. Right, Spirit, why do we have the intuition card, please, for the DM? Why is the intuition card here, please? Why is the intuition card? Yeah, you see, instinctively, intuitively, he knows that he wants a new life, okay? And he knows that it's time to move on. This hasn't worked for the DM. You know, the karmic is sort of almost under, they've just said illusion. I thought they may have said delusion, but no, they've said illusion. She's under an illusion that everything is hunky-dory and the future's going to be great, when actually probably deep down this karmic knows that it's not. But she's trying to kid herself at the moment. Whereas the DM knows that it's not working for him, you know. We have the new life card here. He wants to start that new life, but he knows he's got this unfinished symphony going on here, you know. He's got to be brave. He's got to get on with it. He's got to take the step, but he needs to do it when the timing is right for him. And, you know, maybe staying in it for a little while longer, and I'm not saying that's what he's going to do, by the way, before we all panic, but maybe staying, you know, the reason it's taking him so long is because he knows that he's still got inner work to do. And it could well be, in fact, it's pretty certain, that this karmic journey that he's on is what is taking him through his shadow work and telling him what he really wants in life. So, you know, we need to cut him a bit of slack. I know we're impatient DFs. We all know what we want this DM to do, but it's his soul's journey. Just like it's the karmic's soul journey, we have to be patient. I know it feels like we're being endlessly patient, but for some of you, you know, you may be choosing to have a new life, DFs. You may be choosing, do you know what, I've waited too long. I'm not prepared to do that anymore, you know. I'm not for a moment suggesting that any of the DFs put their life on hold while the DM sorts himself out and makes the decision. Because, you know, he's got to, you know, the DFs have got to be aware that, you know, you're answerable to your own soul's journey, you know, and that is the most important thing, even in the twin flame journey. Also bear in mind, DFs, that, and I may have said this last week, I can't remember, that if you, because you are twin flames, you are one soul that is split in two. You know, the more inner work you do on yourself, the more self-love you give yourself, the more of an impact that will have on your twin, because they will feel the rise in your energy and the loving energy within. Okay. Right, why do we have the shadow card here, please, Spirit? Why do we have the shadow card? They've given me two again. We have the flexible card and we have a leg up. Okay. So, you know, we have this flexible, let's take them one at a time. We have the flexible card that's come up with the shadow card. And this kind of feels like the DM is looking at the situation from all angles. He knows that he's working through issues within, and he's trying to look at it from all different directions in order to find the solutions and the answers and to help his soul grow. Okay, which is why, you know, as I say, he's having to be flexible, because it's about his thoughts being flexible, him thinking outside the box, him sort of feeling different feelings that maybe he's not felt before, you know. He maybe entered this karmic situation thinking this was an easy solution and it was light and fluffy and isn't it going to be fun, when in actual fact he's learned hard lessons through that journey. But he knows that, you know, this situation, he, you know, in terms of his inner growth, he knows that this karmic journey has actually given him a leg up. It's given him a step forward, because he's learnt lessons that he needed to learn in order to find his truth. So, you know, this has been an important experience for the DM. however hard it's been for the DFs who, you know, have been on the other end of it, really, for want of a better phrase, but there we are. You know what I mean. So let's have a look at the karmic. So why do we have the Angel of Balance? They wanted me to continue using the same deck, so I am going to do that. Why do we have the Angel of Balance here, Spirit? Why is the Angel of Balance here? Ooh, this is going to create some sighs, I can hear you now, DFs, because, you know, look at this. I mean, this is extraordinary. Let me just work through these cards with you for a moment, DFs, because how extraordinary is this? At the moment, okay, this karmic is feeling that things are balanced, okay? And look at the two extremes that we have in these two cards. So here we have karmic energy where the karmic is feeling isolated, alone, you know, sad, abandoned. And here we have the energy where she feels that the DM's her soulmate. You know? How extreme is that? So she feels quite balanced at the moment. She feels that these two energies are actually in line. So she's sitting somewhere in the middle. So it could well be that sometimes she feels that everything's fine between her and the DM. And other times she's feeling abandoned by the DM. And that would make absolute sense, because if we remember, you know, the DM, is that in camera shot? No, I'll have to move it in a bit. Is that in camera shot? Sort of. You know, if we remember, the DM is trying to work through stuff here. He knows this is an unfinished symphony, you know? So some days, we know he's spending a lot of time doing deep thinking. So some days he's going to be withdrawn, and, you know, that will make the karmic feel abandoned, alone, like, you know, she may even wonder whether the DM even likes her some days, or likes him, as I said. We're not being gender specific. But other days, he's maybe not so deeply in thought, and he's sort of coasting through his day, and she'll feel maybe that everything's okay that day, you know? So I think at the moment, she's feeling that things are more balanced than they were. It doesn't mean that that's the truth, but she is feeling, that is how the karmic is feeling. And I do get this energy of her, because she has this belief that it's almost like a dream she's living in her own mind, that she's thinking, yes, you know, this is great, you know, I'm in a good position here, and things are going to be great, and this is my future settled, and I'm going to be secure, and I don't have to worry, and all those sort of quite childlike sort of patterns of thinking. You know, so maybe there is, as I said, they said illusion earlier. There is some sort of illusion going on here. I'll be amazed if we don't get a card with a moon in it at some stage on the karmic side, but we'll see. Let's see what is the serendipity? Yeah, you see, she feels, sorry, they were a step ahead of me there because I do ramble on. We have the temple path. She feels that she's on her correct life path. She feels this was destined. She feels that this is the way forward, that it was meant to be for her in her life. You know, the card of serendipity, you know, happened for a reason. It was meant to be. And again, we have this sort of illusion going on, really. But it is her belief. You know, that is what she's telling herself. That is how she's feeling at the moment. And, you know, it seems to just, well, yeah, illusion's the best word. Seriously. Oh, gosh. Okay, and, you know, as we said, She thinks that, you know, what she wants is a secure life that's sort of abundant. And I said earlier, oh God, didn't I say earlier the word gold digger doesn't spring to mind? I don't get that. It's about stability. She's having to learn some lessons here. You know, I don't think this person is particularly a gold digger. I do think it's about stability, but she may present as quite materialistically focused in some areas of her life. Well, there aren't any other areas apart from being materially focused, really, when you think about it. But, you know, she is, I don't get the feeling that she's looking for the blossoming abundance of love necessarily, although there are bits of that. And I don't feel she's particularly hard either. I do feel it's about her inner insecurities. But what she's having to learn here is that while she's chasing her security and her abundance, see the masks we have here. Again, we have this whole feeling of illusion. You know, all that glitters. What's the phrase? All that glitters is not gold. You know, for me, this card, it comes up in many readings, and sometimes it feels like it's not such an illusion. But in this instance, it feels like it is. It feels like she, you know, she wants this abundance in her life, but it's not real, you know. And, you know, I said earlier that maybe the karmic feels deep down, you know, if she was being totally honest with herself, she would say, actually, this relationship isn't working for me either. But she's so focused on her own security that she's deluding herself here, you know. There's a mask being worn, you know, and here's all her abundance, but there's not a truth here. Yeah, interesting. So let's have a look at this garden and gate, because she's certainly looking towards her future. At the moment, things are standing still, as we said. She's behind the gate at the moment. Things, and that may just be because of how things have been going on in the world recently. But she's looking towards her future. She feels her world is opening up because of her association with this DM. And, oh gosh, and again, you know, there's almost a sense of immaturity and romantic sort of, dream isn't the right word, is it? They've just said fantasy in my head. This karmic has a picture in her head, a romantic picture, almost like a teenage fantasy. She believes that the DM is going to be the answer to all her dreams, all her prayers. She feels this is fated. Sadly, for the karmic, the DM is not feeling like that. He's doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of inner work. So we have a karmic and a DM who appear to be on two very different pages, but I think the DM is very aware of where the karmic sits in all this, because this is why he's trying to handle things very, very sensitively. Potentially, it could also mean that it's going to be difficult for this DM to move out of this situation, because the karmic will not want to let go of this illusion of her future that she has built in this relationship. Very tricky. That is very tricky. But, you know, this is how relationships go, as we know. Do we need more information? Yes, okay. Do we need tarot? We're going to come to tarot in a minute for a couple of clarifiers, but I just want to pull some clarifiers from this one because these are very direct cards. These are cards by Sonia Choquette, and I'm just going to go through and pull one for each. Can we have one only, please, Spirit? One for each to give us further clarification, and then we'll look at some tarot for the steps forward. Okay. Why do we have the Thinker card here, please? Which one? This one, okay. Yeah, I mean, we have said, you know, and again, this is coming up a lot in readings, this card. It's quite strange how the same cards tend to repeat in a lot of readings. But, you know, we've said that he's taking his time. The DM's taking his time, he's overthinking, but, you know, they don't want you to be afraid. There's nothing for you to take offence at anyway at the moment, really, because this is between the DM and the Karmic, okay? We're looking at their relationship right now, DFs. But, you know, they're saying regardless of the fact you may have been waiting forever, some of you, and the fact that we've said, look, he's still sitting thinking this through, be reassured that here we have the Chariot, and the Chariot is moving forward, okay? I always say this is like the Chariot card in tarot. So there is forward movement here. It may be tiny, it may be endlessly frustrating for you, DF, but this situation, he is reaching conclusions because there is definitely forward movement here. Oops. Spirit, what's happening regarding this unfinished symphony, please? Why do we have the unfinished symphony? Is it this one? No. It's too late, I've put it back now, Spirit. Sorry. Unfinished symphony. Why do we have the unfinished symphony, please? They do make me smile sometimes. They wanted me to pull a card earlier, but I put it back in the middle of the deck without realising, just as they said it was that one. And so... And so now I said, what is it with the unfinished symphony? And they gave me a card that says, just sing. How funny. I think they're joking here. But, you know, yeah. How do you want me to explain this, Spirit? Or was this just a joke? Seriously. Because this card is all about joy. It's all about recognition. It's all about... And, yeah, I mean, what they're saying to me actually is... It'd be interesting to see which tarot comes up for this, because what they're saying here is, you see, this person is having a lot of adulation. That's not a word I use either, but they just said it is. She's having a lot of adulation here. People are throwing flowers, you know. This DM is in a situation where there's a lot of people that seem to be relying, I think is a better word, on this situation between him and the Karmic actually working out. And this is why he's trying to be sensitive. He knows that he's got to, you know, make his move in the way that he wants to. But he feels he's going to let people down, because there's a lot of people looking up to him at the moment. And didn't I say earlier that this Karmic almost has this DM on a pedestal? So for him to actually, you know, tear that pedestal down, which in effect is how he's feeling, that it will be if he walks away, you know, he wants, this is why they were saying last week, damage limitation. That's going to be hard, because, you know, that will also impact on his feelings, his self-esteem. So he's got himself in a real situation here, in a real little dilemma. So... Okay, new life, please. Why do we have the new life card here? Yeah, he's got to make a decision. I mean, interestingly, you know, this is a legal person, as we can see. This is a judge. This is someone that is making a final decision. He knows intuitively, in order to start his new life, he has to make a decision. He has to decide, is his new life with the Karmic? Well, I think he's already decided that actually it's time to go and he's not very happy there. Or is this the time he moves towards the DF? You know? Or is this time he just needs time out? He knows that in order to start a new life where he's happy, he has to decide the outcome. And for some of you DFs, you may have felt that he's been deciding the outcome for ages. Oh yes, we certainly think that. But anyway, let's have a look what this flexibility and shadow card is all about, please. He's thankful. And I know that sounds a bizarre thing to say, but, you know, he's thankful for the lessons that he's learnt. he feels that he has grown. He feels that, you know, this karmic experience and the sort of fallout from him being in this karmic relationship has actually taught him very valuable lessons about himself. And for that, he's very thankful, because it will lead him to the relationship that he is meant to be in, DF, you know? So, yes, he may feel a bit battle-worn, battle-torn, battle-worn, I don't know which way it is, but they've just said the phrase like it to me. They've said battle-torn, they've just said in my head. You know, but he's thankful for the lessons because it's helped him to clarify things. Again, when we pull the tarot in the next sort of round of clarifiers, it'll be interesting to see whether we get a sword card here for clarity. Remind me that I said that. Oh no, you can't, can you? I've just you know what I mean. I get carried away. Right, let's see what the leg up and the fertility cards are doing here, please. Spirit, what are the leg? What's the leg up and the yeah, you know what I mean. Give it to God. It may be that this divine masculine has been praying for answers. It may be that he's been talking to spirits, speaking to the universe, just looking to the skies and saying, please help me out with this situation because I don't know how to handle it. It may simply be that, you know, and you know, he has learnt the lessons, he has been growing, it has helped him to step forward, and maybe he's had assistance, maybe he feels that things are sort of moving forward in a certain way that will, you know, have been ways that he can't explain, maybe, you know, that have just sort of happened from nowhere. So I'm not really sure what those things can be. You will know what, well, you may not know because this is about a karmic relationship, but it almost feels like there's been a series of events that he didn't bargain for, that, you know, he's asked for help from, as I said, the universe, spirit, God, and yeah, that's how he's been able to move forward as far as he has. It's been a slow process, we all know that, but it's been important for him in terms of his soul growth. So let's have a look at this karmic. I feel quite sorry for this karmic. Sorry, I know you're not going to like me saying that. I know. But, and trust me, there's been times where I haven't felt sorry for karmics, frankly. But at the moment, this karmic is living under such an illusion that the way ahead could end up being tricky. But let's see what Spirit are telling us. Spirit, what can you tell us about this angel of balance at the top here? Yeah, this is about attention. You know, we have step away from the crowd, you know. This karmic is feeling settled. She feels like she's on the right life path, as we've said. But it almost feels like she's doing something different. She's getting noticed. She's standing out. She's getting attention by being in this relationship. And, you know, that is why she's hanging on to it so much, and why she feels like it's her future and it's abundant, because, you know, she's not just doing what everybody else is doing. She feels, while she's in this relationship, that she's very special, you know, and it puts her in a position where, look, you know, here's the crowd over here, but here's the karmic standing out, you know. So there's definitely some sort of payoff for this karmic in this relationship. I'm going to move these cards over slightly so that you can see them, hopefully. Let's see why serendipity is here, and the temple path. What else can you tell us about this, Spirit, please? Yeah, again, this card comes up an awful lot. I think this is something to do with at the moment, the sort of energies in the universe asking us all to be kind and spread the light and be sort of, yeah, bring joy to others, really. She feels that she's been put in this position because she was meant to be noticed, meant to be, you know, have people sort of around her who saw her as a leading light in some way. She feels that it was, you know, she was meant to be on this path, that it was always the way, you know, she was, how can I word this? It almost feels like you know, the karmic is feeling that, you know, she's here to light the way, that, you know, as I say, she's now centre of attention, and therefore she's in a position to lead others maybe, or bring light to others, because she can shine on them, because she's feeling so good. Because, you know, here we are again, interestingly, we have the temple path card, and look at the lights around there. They're almost like spiritual orbs. So, you know, she feels this is her divine path, and here we are again, lighting the path. She feels very, very lucky, fortunate, and they've just said the word entitled. I wasn't going to say entitled earlier because I felt that it sounded a bit nasty, but actually they've just said it, so I need to say it. She feels like, you know, this was her birthright, really, and she's making the most of it. What about the blossoming abundance and all that glitters, Spirit? Not that one, this one. Yeah, you see, they want me to take that one too. We had that last time. That came up in one of either the DM reading or the karmic reading last time, Fill the Well. So we have blossoming abundance and all that glitters. You know, she wants her world to be beautiful. There's a very young energy around this karmic, a very childlike, immature attitude. And, you know, she wants a pretty world, you know. It's almost like this robin here. I think it's a robin, yeah. Maybe. Anyway, I'm not good with birds, but it does look like a robin. It feels like, you know, the robin here is playing dress up, you know. And, you know, it's the card of decorate, you know. She wants her world to be pretty and lovely and jolly and whatever. You know, and that all, she feels that if she gets these things, and as I say, I don't feel that she's a particularly money-grabbing energy or a gold digger energy. You know, you may have a karmic within your circles who is, you know, exhibiting gold digger energy. This one doesn't. Yes, finance is important to her, but I do think she feels that if she has that financial security, that she will feel fulfilled, that she will feel, you know, that she won't have anything lacking inside. She is mistaking financial security for emotional security, and she thinks that the financial security will bring emotional security, which of course it won't, you know. So she, you know, this is why I say, even though for DFs having a karmic in this situation is heartbreaking, truly heartbreaking, yes it is, but this karmic is having to learn incredibly hard lessons, the same way that the DM, she's enabling the DM to learn what it is he truly wants in life. And it's about him doing this shadow work and you know, working out the other side of it. They've just said to me, stop chatting. Sorry, Spirit, I'm getting on your nerves. Yeah, you know, she feels, as I say, that this is fated. She's looking towards her future being, you know, a lot more open, for, you know, things to be great. Her world is opening up. It's all going to be great. She doesn't want things to return to how they used to be. I think she was leading quite a shallow, sort of living in a small world with, you know, maybe they've just said the word repetitive. So maybe the life she was living before was very repetitive, and she doesn't want to go back to that because she felt lost. She felt lost in her old world. She didn't know what her future was going to be. She didn't even have a gate to look over, if you know what I mean. You know, she couldn't see her way forward. So she felt that meeting this DM was fate. And, you know, here she is, not wanting to go back to that quite limited life she was leading before. So, you know, she's putting a lot of faith in this relationship because she's daring to be happy. you know? She's saying, you know, I'm going to have all this stability and I'm going to have all this attention and that's going to make me truly happy. No, 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 no. You know, what's interesting about this card, and I know I've gone back up to the card above, but what I've just noticed is look at the person at the top. These people feeling fulfilled, and here she is at the top of her hill, you know, with her abundance around her. But not only is she alone, but her bucket is empty. So what she thought was going to bring her emotional fulfillment, she's going to find it's a very empty place. But at the moment, this karmic is daring to be happy. Sadly for her, as I said, the DM is assessing his position, shall we say. So let's find out. This is turning into another long reading, and I keep saying I'm not going to make them that long, but I do just enjoy them and I get carried away. So I'm going to go quickly through with the tarot, please, Spirit. Well, probably shouldn't have said that, because when I say quickly through, they usually throw them everywhere. Spirit, please can we have just one tarot, if possible, for each of the cards here. Not each of the cards, but each of the lines here, please. So the take no offense card and the waiting time. What is the way forward here? What is going to happen next with that sort of thinking that's going on for the DM? What's going to happen next regarding take no offense and the waiting time? I know I missed it. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that says it all, doesn't it? So, yes, we know there's waiting time. We do know that the DM is moving forward because we have this Chariot card here. But, you know, again, he's biding his time. He's waiting for the right moment. Okay. So, these difficulties that he's having... Queen of Pentacles, interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's taking his time. We're looking at this row now. So we, you know, here he was in this position where he knows that a lot of people are relying on him regarding this and watching really what's going to happen in this relationship. And he knows it's time to go, but he knows here is the karmic sitting here in her Queen of Pentacles energy, surrounded by abundance, which we know is what she wants to help her feel secure. And he knows that when he makes a move away from her, he's going to be letting her down, you know? And he knows it's going to have a big effect on her because of this illusion that she's living under. So, like I said earlier, this DM is a nice guy. He is... he's, again, damage limitation. He's trying to not hurt people. But he has to make a decision. So what can you tell us about this decision, please? What is going to happen next regarding this decision? Spirit, what's the DM going to do? Yeah, he's sort of looking for magical answers at the moment. I think he's hoping someone will come along with a magic wand and sort it all out for him. But, you know, it may simply be that he is... Well, it's not even simple. It may be that, you know, he suddenly reaches a conclusion that is something he's not thought of before. So, you know, there's sort of in the way that's it's moving forward, he knows that he wants to move towards his new life. They want me to take this card. Yeah, he wants to put it all behind him. He's ready and he's looking for a magical solution for it to be put behind him. But he knows at the same time that in order to start his new life, he's got to make that decision. It can only come from him. So in order to put that behind him, he's trying to find some sort of magical solution at the moment. And that's why he's in this waiting energy. But they're saying to me he's definitely moving forward. They want me to take this one. Yeah, because this is the life that he's envisaging. And they've just said to me it doesn't include the karmic. So, you know, here he is in Ten of Pentacles energy. Yes, there is all this abundance around him. He wants an abundant future, you know. So it may well be that at the moment, part of the hold up, yeah, this is what they're saying. Because I just said we're in this waiting energy, what they're saying is he's having to work out a work situation at the moment as well. Because in order to have an abundant future with the person that he wants to be with in his new life, he's got a work situation that is difficult at the moment. He's trying to sort that out first. That has to be his priority. So, you know, he's looking for all sorts of solutions. He's being creative about it in order to be able to move forward. So, why is he thankful, please? Why is he thankful about his shadow work? Why is the DM thankful about his shadow work, Spirit? Because he feels he's being put back in control of a situation, you know. He's trying not to be too forceful about it. He's trying not to cause chaos, but he feels better when he's back in his own power. And at the moment, he hasn't felt back in his own power, you know. He's had to fight for his position. So, you know, it may be that he's waking up to the idea that there's been some manipulation along the way from the karmic. It may have been very emotional manipulation, you know. Maybe the karmic is feeling sorry for herself, and maybe, you know, as I say, he's scared of hurting her. But, you know, he's thankful because he's clearer. Didn't I say? Yes, I did. Didn't I say earlier that he is thankful for the lessons learned? And I said, won't it be interesting to see if a sword card comes up next to that? And here it is. For goodness sake. I mean, that's extraordinary, isn't it? You know? And here he is, you know, being a strong, powerful character. He knows his strengths. He knows, you know, that he's learning those lessons. He may not be quite there yet, and he may be trying to find his way on how to use it in order to move forward. But here he is reclaiming his power, you know. He's got to be careful, you know, Four of Swords energy. He's got to be careful that he doesn't sort of... He's not in King of Swords energy here. He's in Four of Swords energy. So he's got to be careful that he's not trampling over people. And maybe that's the lesson he had to learn, you know, in dealing with this relationship, which is why he's trying to be diplomatic. You know, maybe in the past he's been throwing his weight about a bit, and maybe he's learned that that's not the way that you end up with happiness, you know. So, but here he is definitely reclaiming his energy, feeling more powerful, feeling clearer. Sword energy about the way forward. Extraordinary. That was extraordinary, Spirit. So let's see what he's been doing in terms of this soul growth. Whoop. Which one? Yeah, strength. Sorry, they don't want me to take that. They've just said we don't want you to take that. It will mislead. They just said it will mislead. I was going to take that because that kind of fits too, but they've said no. Let's focus on the positives here. This DM has been doing a lot of shadow work. There's been a lot of soul growth happening. It's helped him take a step forward to what he truly wants. He's asked for assistance from the universe, from God, or whoever it is your DM talks to spiritually. And that has helped him to find inner strength, which is probably why, with this clarity, probably why he's feeling, you know, he's reclaiming his power here. But he's got to be careful not to misuse it. But there's been an important lesson there. He's feeling much stronger, which is probably why we saw the Chariot energy up here, probably why things are beginning to move forward. We seem to have loads of cards here, but anyway, let's go through the karmic now and see what the karmic, what's going to happen here and what lessons they're learning. So, why do we have step away from the crowd and the angel of balance, please, for the karmic? Yeah, you see the karmic, again, this financial stability thing. Aces are always the beginnings. You know, she feels that she's at the beginning of a new, stable financial life. that, you know, that makes her sound very money grabbing, but, you know, that basically, again, for whatever reason, she wants this stability, and she feels that she's at the start. She's at the top of the hill. If you can see, the house is down the hill. She feels she's at the top of the hill. She feels she's the cat that's got the cream. She feels she has achieved the position that she wanted to achieve. And here she is with her attention. Here she is. Again, same energy. So, why do we have the temple path here in serendipity? Yeah, again, you know, we have this spreading the light energy. We have her feeling, you know, that she's in a almost like an elevated position where she can sort of, you know, I don't want to say lord it over people, but it kind of has a bit of a tinge of that, you know. The Six of Cups energy is a nice energy. I like the Six of Cups energy usually, because sometimes it can be about, you know, someone returning. Maybe she feels more grounded because she's in this relationship. Again, she's got this feeling of stability. So maybe she feels that she can be benevolent. Maybe she feels that she's returning to herself. You know, she may have had a rocky path in the lead up to this relationship, and maybe now she feels that she's in a better position, you know, to take into account and be thankful for the things around her, and that she is in a position to be, I don't know, I was going to say giving to other people, but it's not in a sort of charitable way. It kind of feels like it's because I'm in the position I'm in, I can actually do this. You know, so there's a payoff for her. Again, it's again about attention. And as I say, please don't get hung up on genders during this reading. I do keep calling the karmic her, but that's just what's coming into my head today. So, yeah, she feels in a magical position. The karmic feels, you know, that anything they focus on, it's going to turn out. And again, there's a sense of manipulation here. You know, she wanted this abundance, as we said. You know, it isn't quite as she thinks it is, because there are, you know, either she's wearing a mask. It does kind of feel like she's wearing a mask in this relationship, but she wants the attention. She wants things to be pretty. She thinks it will fulfill her emotionally. She thinks that anything she puts her mind to, she can get. You know, anything she focuses on, it'll magically happen. You know, that feels like a major manipulation to me, frankly. Yeah, that doesn't feel nice. In that context, I usually love the Three of Wands because it feels like a magical energy, but in this instance, it feels manipulative. I don't like it. Let's move on. So, what is this karmic seeing across this gate? You know, why do we have these end cards? Why is she daring to be happy? Why is she feeling it's fated, please? Because she's moving away from a situation that wasn't so good. Okay? She feels people have helped her in this situation. And didn't I say earlier, I'd be surprised if we don't see a moon appearing in this reading somewhere, some sort of card featuring a moon. And here we have a moon. Because we talked about illusion. You know, so, you know, she's moving away from a situation that wasn't so good, but she's moving towards moon energy. And again, this card, you know, it has, I usually feel very positive about it, but in this context, it kind of feels like she was moving away from something. She got her swords packed. She felt a lot clearer about things. She was helped to move towards a situation. But the situation she's moving towards is an illusion. And when I say moving towards, I mean moving towards the, you know, the DM. She's in this relationship with the DM. She thinks she's moving towards all good things, but in actual fact, she's taken a chance. She's dared to be happy, but she's stepping towards further illusion. So, can we pull another one for the karmic for that, please? A further clarifier, please. She thought that this love offer from the DM was going to bring her healing. We have Temperance here, we have the Knight of Cups. This is a love offer in this type of reading. So she moved away from something that wasn't good. She took a chance by daring to be happy. And she thought that would help her feel better. It would help her heal. It would help bring her the stability we've talked about all the way through this reading. For this week, it feels like she's going to be disappointed. And I say for this week, not during this week. It kind of feels the energy of the DM is such that he's doing such a lot of self-learning. He has to make this decision. And he has to decide how he's going to move forward. And it doesn't feel like he's moving forward with this situation. He's feeling a lot stronger, DFs. He's feeling a lot stronger. He's done a lot of inner work. And I wish that I could just say to you, this is going to happen, you know, a week on Tuesday or tomorrow or whatever. But at the moment, we know it's moving forward because we have the Chariot card. And he knows what he needs to do to make that decision. And he's in a stronger position to make it. Let me pull a Moonology. Since we've had so much illusion on the table, let's pull a Moon card. And then I really must draw it to a close. Otherwise, this would be like a 4-hour reading. Seriously. But I kind of feel I want to pull something else from it. You know, your DM is a nice person, but he's got himself in a situation that is tricky to get out of. It doesn't mean he's not going to, because I do think there's movement here, and I think there's been immense learning here. Oh, yeah, thank you, Spirit. Look, I said I wanted to draw this to a conclusion, and look what they've given us. Expect powerful change, DF. So there are powerful changes coming here. Powerful changes. So it looks like that decision is going to be made. Do you want me to take that one too? Yeah, look. What do you need to release? So this is talking about this situation, not about you, DF. This is talking about what is needing to be released in this relationship between the DM and the Karmic, that will bring the powerful change. And this is exactly what we've been talking about. This is what the DM is trying to sort out at the moment. And since it's a Karmic read, I'm going to pull 3 cards. Yeah. A very clear message to both of them. Don't let the past hold you back. So, you know, for both of them, if this relationship isn't working, they seem to be on 2 totally different pages. You know, it doesn't feel at all like this relationship is working. And it looks like the DM is working through that. They had to meet for a reason, for a karmic reason, maybe to pay karmic debt, you know, or maybe just to learn some very strong lessons, you know, so that they can move forward to their respective relationships that they're supposed to be in. And this is why it is bringing powerful change. This is why they are having to release it. And this is why they're being guided to not let the past hold them back. So don't, you know, they're being told don't stay in this situation. And these are the lessons they're learning. They're being told don't stay in a situation that isn't serving you. Release it. And that will bring powerful change for both of them. Okay? And it looks like, while the Karmic is sitting in her illusion, it looks like the DM is reaching these conclusions. He wants the powerful change. He knows what he's got to release. And he knows that he's being held back. Watch this space, DFs. Watch this space. if you enjoyed the reading today, or it gave you food for thought, please subscribe to the channel and please give me a like. That would be great. And as always, I look forward to hearing your comments. I reply to as many as I possibly can. I have been asked several times recently about private readings. I am looking into the best way of managing those at the moment. I have to be aware of my energy levels, but also I want to do them in the way that serves you best. So I'm just trying to figure that. I'm a bit like, here I am sitting as a DF in sort of thinking things through energy, which is mirroring perfectly where the DM's at the moment. But here we are. So as soon as I sort that out, I will put it up on the channel. And I look forward to, taking bookings from you. That would be fantastic. Let me know if you're interested in those. Let me know what type of personal readings you'd be looking for. And, I'll be able to sort of gear them accordingly. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. Please remember to subscribe. And I look forward to catching up with you on the next update. Take care.